Speaking of Facebook, this is a good transition. And before we get to that, shout out to Altech for the super chat, $10. Congrats on moving to the new channel, guys. Keep up the great work. He has a really good website called visualstocks.com. The S is a Z in visual. Highly recommend people check it out. I pay for it every month. Great stock screener, and can check out some awesome charts. Meta employees are back in the office 3 days a week as a part of a new mandate. Zuckerberg is like, get your ass into the office. Work from home no more. VITALY, you're the largest Meta shareholder here. Do you like this move by Zucks, or do you think this
Am I the largest? We didn't discuss that with Chris, but okay. Chris said he has a good position, but I think he sold out a bit recently for Google. Is that right?
I put it a little bit in Google. Yeah. Took some Meta off.
So what was your question?
Google.
Do you think it's a good thing for Zucks to be forcing his fancy product managers and engineers to come to the office?
Yeah, I do actually. Because okay, so my background is engineering. I have coded, and it's always been better when you can talk to the group. What sucks about office environments is there's a lot of time being wasted, and there's a lot of meetings and managers always bothering you. So coders do need space, and I think Zuck understands that part. That's why he's only saying 3 days a week. But yes, there is a benefit to being in an office and talking to other engineers, and that's how you solve a lot of problems that are very tricky, especially in big companies. Absolutely. I'm all for all the big companies bringing back their workers. These motherfuckers better stop watching their kids during the day. Go back to work.
Why aren't they in the metaverse with the goggles on in their house?
Whoa!
I mean,
well, they're waiting for the Vision Pro to do that. Yeah. Is that the answer?
Isn't that the answer? You just put everybody in a...
Yeah,
that's a good point, though, Carlos. Why aren't these guys in the metaverse?
Why aren't they using it?
That's an idiotic answer. Okay,
no, it's not. That's actually
it's not idiotic.
But it's actually not an idiotic answer. That's what that's supposed to solve.
Bro, the metaverse. Let me say it here on the channel. The metaverse is dead.
Didn't you say it was alive last time you came over to my house?
It was some apps.
He also said he was buying one, and
some apps were cool, but like all of us being in the metaverse, that's dead. That concept's dead, VITALY.
I mean, we are in the metaverse. It's just in a different way. It's all going to transition eventually. But hold on, this is the long-term vision of actually people working and living their lives in that kind of environment. That's not what's happening today. Today, people do need to get into an office and still work together. You can have meetings like this. Like right now, we're being productive. We're talking about interesting things. But at the end of the day, we're still going to meet up in Las Vegas and have an experience. That's still worthwhile.
But that's different. I mean, bring up Mike.
It's the same thing. Experiences.
The metaverse was supposed to enable people to not go to the office. It's supposed to be the way of communicating as if you're in the same room.
I'm not going to argue this point again. I've always thought this was the long-term thing and not the tomorrow thing. Not literally tomorrow.
But how long you've been saying? They've been saying tomorrow.
It's been 2 years, bro. It's been almost 2
years. I forgot you're long-term investors. It's been 2 years. Okay.
Bro, but what, you think in 2030 people are going to wear a headset and go to work?
I think a lot of people will be wearing a headset in 2030. Absolutely.
I think that if they are, I think it'll be.
I think as the technology improves and it becomes much more easier, instead of looking at shitty 3D characters, which we don't want to look at right now, the tech there is not for standalone headsets to work the way you want it to work. It's not there yet. It's going to be there. And when it gets there, just like the iPhone moment, it'll be obvious, but it's not obvious yet. It's going to take some time.
You see, guys, this is a little preview of that very heated Apple versus Meta debate that we had that is going to go live on Freelancer Finance this week, with or without these.
I mean, the fact that you're arguing that someday this will be real is kind of crazy. Like, this is obviously going to be real.
I'm not arguing that it's not going to be real. But what I'm saying is I feel like you keep pushing the timeline further and further out. When
I've always said 2030. No. I've always said Meta's undervalued. Meta's going to over $1 trillion. We're almost there, by the way. Did we touch $1 trillion, Chris?
Talking specifically,
I've always said that you're getting the metaverse. You're getting the metaverse for free.
VITALY has been long term. To his credit,
you're not listening to me. You're getting the metaverse for free because Meta was so undervalued and is still undervalued. It's literally for free, and if it works out, it's another $1 trillion you're getting out of it.
What I'm saying is they've been.
I see no issue here.
He's dumped almost the amount of money that Elon paid for Twitter on the metaverse.
Right, well, we're just going over the same arguments.
They bought.
They seem to be doing okay.
When did they buy Reality Labs?
The thing is, when you were telling me this when they were crashing, you sounded like you were intelligent talking about it. Now the fact that they've gone 3x in a matter of 6-7 months,
but zero to do.
It doesn't sound intelligent anymore.
It had zero to do.
It sounds like you missed a massive opportunity.
It had zero to do with the metaverse, bro. It had they just had ads. They just pumping out more ads. TikTok was not as much of a threat to them as possible. I'm saying that the metaverse, this idea that he's been spending all this money,
I always get suckered into this stupid debate. I don't know.
They've been on the front. They've been on the front lines of this thing. It's honestly, it's not.
Put Chris in.
And if you're pushing everybody, I'm sorry, if you're pushing everybody to go back to work when you own a company that is supposed to create the technology that allows people to work from home, work in the office from home. I was partially kidding, but it is actually true that no one's using it, not even them.
It's that's a silly debate, by the way.
Because
all right, well,
it's
the
not
the opportunity here is not in either Meta or any of these companies, right? The real opportunities. Well, yeah, it's in the commercial REITs. Well, Google too. But commercial REITs right now, leasing rates on Q3, Q4 are going to be exploding. Almost every company, even technology companies like Zoom, have actually dialed back on this work from home scenario.
That's
insane. Saying go work. So
Zoom's making people come back,
right? So right now, a lot of commercial real estate REITs are still trading way below book value, and there's no net additions of new buildings. So regional banks, REITs, the concern with the regional banks was that they have all this exposure to commercial office, but all these people going back to work, leases are being signed up again. And when the numbers for Q3, Q4 come out and the leasing rates are above expectations, everyone's going to be like, oh my God, commercial REITs, that's where we're supposed to be. Well, that's where KRIS was fucking 6 months ago when I was telling the same exact thing to everyone. So I say,
I don't know how he went from Meta to REITs, but he did it.
No, he always goes back. He's like, well, where do they have to go to work? In an office.
But he's right. He's right.
No, but that's the conversation.
Well, there's always what he's doing is he's going upstream. He's like, okay, let's go upstream and let's catch the businesses that make money regardless of whichever company.
No, but look, the topic of conversation here was Zuck says Meta has to get its employees back to the office 3 days a week, right? My entire thesis on people going back to work and this work from home thing slowly dying down is starting to come to fruition, right? We're starting to see almost every major company saying, hey, we need to have a physical office presence again because work from home just ain't working like we want it to. Whether or not I agree or disagree with that are two different things. But I'll tell you right now, commercial REITs, especially some that are based in San Francisco that are still really, really undervalued, you may want to pick some up. And you may same thing with the New York City, especially like Vornado and SL Green, they've run up 100% year over year, by the way. Not year over year, 100% since the lows. And that's still way, way under book. And that includes all the dividends that I've been collecting on a monthly basis. I don't know if you guys bought any SLG, but me and my Patreon people have been.
I own that's the only REIT, and maybe some others. And actually, I own what is it? What is the Vanguard REIT ETF? I own that one as well. You know, KRIS, or no? VNQ. I think it's VNQ. So I own a lot of O and actually VNQ. That's the REITs that I have. But in terms of work from home, by the way, yes, people are going back into the office. Not all of them though. So there is a problem. Yes, like I was just hanging out with a guy who works in a hedge fund. He said, we're not going back to the office. He said, well, the fact I moved out to where I'm living right now is because I don't have to come into the office at all, basically. So not everybody is going back. But having said that, I have another tenant who works at Google, and she said they're making them go back in Manhattan to the office now. So she has to go, I think, 3 days a week in, when it was used to be 0 for COVID. Now it's 3 days a week.
So I was in
that's a reasonable commute though.
I was in the city last week. And so let me tell you, Monday, actually I wasn't there Monday. I got there Tuesday. Tuesday, the city was packed. Trains were packed. L train, F train, everything was packed. Like the commute was just literally pre-pandemic. The one caveat though, Friday was dead. Friday, like I actually was able to get on and it wasn't that bad. So the whole thing with 3 days a week is starting to happen, but even Fridays are starting to come back. Goldman, Citadel, JP Morgan Chase.
Was that the Friday before Labor Day?
Yeah. That could be it. That could be an impact.
Everybody left Thursday on Friday. Yeah.
The thing is, Goldman, Citadel, JP Morgan, they're all calling back workers 5 days a week. The city itself is just bustling. So right now, there are still REITs in New York City that are trading at 60 cents on the dollar on total assets. So all you need is for leasing rates to go back to where they were pre-pandemic, which I think they're going to happen within the next year. And you can see these companies go from $30, $40 to $70, $80, maybe even $100, depending on which one you pick. So, like I said, if you're on my Patreon, I'm going to probably put a post on it tonight and just say, okay, these are the companies that are going to benefit the most. These are the ones that are probably going to, be a little bit more lagging. Like San Francisco has been like the REITs over there have been lagging, but I think those are the ones that are actually going to be better value propositions because they haven't recovered nearly as much as the ones in New York City and Boston, and Austin.